I recently hosted a live workshop with my friend Mitchell Baldridge on the tax advantages of real estate. We cover bonus depreciation, cost segregation, 1031 exchanges, all the different ways that real estate and all the different things that make real estate the most tax efficient business in the world. So if you want to learn more about Mitchell and what he does, visit recostseg.com. And here is a replay of the workshop that we hosted a few weeks ago. Thanks for listening. Mitchell, there's 5 levers of bonus depreciation that kind of helps us get to this, total savings amount. Let's talk through kind of when we're looking at assets, when we're looking at pieces of real estate that investors buy, what are some of the things that impact deductions?
So, Mike Burns says, does bonus depreciation still make sense with the sub 500K asset? And this is the exact kind of framework I go through to say yes or in fact, no. I mean, if Mike owns a 500K shack on a hilltop in California and the land's worth 800,000 and somehow he got a screaming deal on it, he probably wouldn't cost seg it because there's just no building. We're just talking about pure land, and the building is incidental to the land, or the building can even be a drawback from the land because you got to tear the thing down. So then the lever one is the percent of land versus the building improvements and the site improvements and everything on the land. The second lever is the percentage of property with shorter useful life. We lost the slide, by the way.
Oh, let me get it back to you. So I think number one, let's explain why land is not depreciable. Like, land in and of itself has an unlimited lifespan. So we cannot deduct the cost of land at all. So if the land value is really high in an area, that hurts our bonus depreciation. It hurts our deductions from a piece of property. So the land is disqualified from all of this.
Out of this equation, because theoretically, if it gets covered in water one day, you'll be able to impair it. But until then, the IRS says land maintains its value. Now we calculate land either by the appraisal district. We use their kind of ratio of land versus improvement. Oftentimes the IRS accepts that. Otherwise, we have to use kind of a broker opinion of value out there, or some other kind of way to value the land. So lever 2 is the percentage of property with a shorter useful life. We talked about, the Airbnb that's all tricked out with all these accoutrements versus the airplane hangar that's sitting there with steel walls. That's what we're talking about, is just how much of this 1245 short life property there is. I mean, the best example is gas stations, where if a gas station has more fuel sales than retail sales, they consider the whole thing 15-year property, and you just get to bonus the whole thing. So in Houston, Texas, we have these Buc-ee's gas stations that look like freaking Walmarts. I mean, they're tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of square feet, and those whole thing, the entire land improvements, pumps, facility, everything gets just written down.
Gas stations have massively positive tax benefits. So that's part of the reason why they trade at low cap rates, honestly, too.
Yeah, you have a Soho loft and you go, okay, this is the most expensive dirt you can ever find in the world, and then you're looking at a building with like steel beams and a couple of lights. So that just doesn't work. And so the gas station and the Soho loft could look the same, but just by this quirk, one is 100% write-off and one is nothing.
Yep.
So then the third lever is this percent of leverage. So really, bonus depreciation is this, it is leverage. I mean, this is a deferred tax liability that the IRS is letting you say, hey, I'm buying this building today and I'm going to push all the depreciation forward to year one that I would have gotten over the next 39 years. And so all you're really doing is creating tax leverage in your deal. If you went and sold it the next year, you would just have recapture and pretty much have to just kind of pay all the tax back. But what you're doing is you're matching the equity going out the door with, the cash that you have to bring to the title company to close the deal with a big cash tax savings in the same year. So, it makes your deal higher leverage in the sense that you just bring less equity to the deal. And so the third lever is the percentage of actual bank debt, meaning if I was able to buy one of your storage facilities from you, Nick, on 100% seller note, meaning I took no money, or I took $10,000 to the title company to pay odds and ends, and you gave me $1 million mortgage, I would still get the bonus depreciation year one on your storage facility. So I would now have this infinite negative ROI forever, as long as I don't go bankrupt and lose the property. And so, but if I had to, like in this market with debt prices up and in strange markets, like you went and closed a warehouse with 100% equity, right? Or did you use any debt on that?
Yeah. And the pattern here is that lever 1, level 2, lever 2, lever 3, lever 4, and lever 5 are all working against us in this
it's bad.
In this real estate market today. Like we're using
Hopefully
less
tax
leverage.
Rates go up, right?
The tax rates are going up and the bonus allowed is going down. So it was a lot more tax efficient, frankly, to buy real estate in 2021. We were literally sometimes bringing $200,000-$300,000 to the table to buy a self-storage facility, and we were getting $200,000-$300,000 right back in the form of bonus depreciation in 2021. Well, we bought an industrial building 3 weeks ago where we didn't use any bank debt. The bonus percentage is now 60%, and we brought $1 million to the table to get $180,000 of year one deduction. So it's a pretty big difference. But asset classes, asset sizes, it still makes sense over time to get this working for you.
The depreciation still makes sense. The question is just like whether it pencils to buy it. Like, yeah, when people were buying multifamily with 80% debt, commonly everyone was getting all of their equity back year one in bonus depreciation. Like everyone's capital account was zero year one.
Yep.
And so, yeah, the percent of leverage, that's how that works. 0% down, infinite ROI, 100% down, 15% bonus depreciation relative to equity.
Yeah, the bank's not deducting anything. So
yeah, the lever 4 is the percentage of tax rate, meaning if I'm at a 50% marginal tax rate versus if I'm at a 12% marginal tax rate, these dollars become a lot more. These deductions.
An example is the federal tax rate's 43%. Max state Georgia tax rate's 5.75%. I'm at 48.75% tax on my top income. I'm at the top bracket, 48%. So every dollar of deduction that I get is super valuable to me because my tax rate's really high. Now, if I was not earning any money anyway, it'd be less appetizing.
Yeah.
And the last lever.
If you just said, hey, I'm going to have this big hit 2 years from now, you may want to hold off in depreciating until the big hit comes. And we'll talk about how to catch up.
But you can carry these forward too. So it's kind of, but I think and then there's the bonus percentage allowed, which is changing with basically the tax law. And right now we're at 60%. Last year we were at 80%. Next year we'll be at 40% as far as what percentage of bonus depreciation is allowed. And then the last lever is the cost of the actual study, meaning what's the bonus percentage, what's your payback ratio with the cost of the study, and how much taxes are you deferring. I would add a 7th lever, Mitchell. I'm going to add a 7th lever right now. I'm going to say, how long are you going to hold a building? How long are you going to hold it? If you're going to hold a building and you're going to sell it in a year or 2 years, it doesn't make sense to pay for a cost segregation study to do this, deferral system, pull this bonus depreciation forward, save taxes today just to pay the taxes back next year. But if you're going to hold it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it becomes basically an interest-free loan from Uncle Sam, meaning I have a tax liability on my books. Like I'm going to have to pay these taxes eventually through recapture, through capital gains when I sell a building, but I can save money now and pay the money 5 years from now to the government. Why would I not want to do that? As a real estate investor, I have a pretty high amount of money that I can earn on my own cash. Why would I not want to save money now and pay it later? So this is kind of all the things we consider when we're thinking about investing in real
call
estate.
lever 7 the time value of money. And we used to not consider that when interest rates were 1%. to sit in a money market. But now when they're 5.5, and like, just to go on a quick aside, I was tweeting over the weekend about just, if you are a business owner, like if you own a restaurant in Athens, Georgia, Nick, why in the world would you lease that building? In the sense that you're going to get 15 years down the line, you're going to do everything it takes to build a successful restaurant, which is like impossible. And then at the 15th year, your lease is going to go up and your landlord is going to come in and be like a margin vampire. You know what? Your landlord's going to go, oh my gosh, we have a successful restaurant here. Let's freaking go.
We have a saying around real estate Twitter that literally all the utility that's generated by a small business ends up getting eaten by the real estate.
There you go.
A business can only be so profitable. A super profitable business in downtown New York City
doesn't matter.
A lot of the margin is going to go towards paying that massive amount of rent that you have to pay to rent that spot in downtown New York City. Whereas a small town where I grew up in Tell City, Indiana, where you can rent a whole restaurant for $400 a month, the real estate cannot suck up much of that profit because it's not a super high value market. But owning this real estate as a small business owner is just a massive lever that you can pull, and the tax advantages are just, the icing on the cake.
Yep.
Big news, guys. I created a free PDF that details my method on how I analyze a self-storage facility and figure out what it's worth. Give me a pen, the back of a napkin, and a couple metrics, and I can figure out about what the property is going to be worth to me. If you want to download this PDF, click in the show notes, the first link, and you can give me your email address, and you get a email right away with 4-page PDF that outlines exactly how I think about underwriting or giving my initial analysis on a self-storage facility. Again, click the link in the show notes, and you're going to get that document for free. This episode of The Nick Huber Show is brought to you by RE Cost Seg. If you want to maximize your bonus depreciation and minimize your tax liability, make sure to do a cost segregation study on real estate you've recently acquired. RE Cost Seg offers the lowest priced, fully engineered studies in the business, and you get a virtual site visit with a quick turnaround. They did 30 plus cost seg studies for me over the past year, including a short-term rental, along with my self-storage facilities. And I'm also an investor in the business, along with my good friend and CPA, Mitchell Baldridge, who you all know. To learn more about how bonus depreciation works, listen to episode 75 of The Nick Huber Show, or visit recostseg.com to go ahead and get a free proposal that outlines the cost of the study and your potential savings. Thanks again, recostseg.com.